You are not invisible because you lack intelligence. You are invisible because you were never taught the architecture that governs attention. You prepare. You think carefully. You speak politely. And still, in meetings, in conversations, in rooms where outcomes are decided, your words dissolve. Someone louder speaks. Someone less precise interrupts. Someone less thoughtful gets the nod. And you walk away thinking, maybe I need more confidence. That diagnosis is incorrect. Confidence is emotional. Authority is structural. If you feel fluent but overlooked, if you feel capable but bypassed, if you feel polite but underestimated, you are not facing a personality problem. You are facing a sequencing problem. Before we go further, download today's PDF in the description. It contains the social strategy map, the positional weight audit, and the narrative control drills referenced in this session. Do not consume this as motivation. Install it as protocol. And if this channel is the only place where language is treated as governance rather than self-expression, subscribe. We do not train conversation. We train structural influence. Most people believe social success is about being liked. It is not. Being liked is a byproduct. Social hierarchy is governed by three forces: stability, control of interpretation, and scarcity of reaction. If your tone fluctuates, if you react instantly, if you explain excessively, the environment categorizes you as adaptive rather than directive. Adaptive individuals are appreciated. Directive individuals are followed. You were trained to reduce friction, to soften your tone, to over-explain, to apologize early, to prevent misunderstanding before misunderstanding exists. Each of these behaviors feels polite. Each of these behaviors reduces positional weight. When you enter a room and begin speaking quickly to prove value, you signal volatility. When you fill silence because it feels uncomfortable, you signal dependency. When you justify your statements before they are challenged, you signal insecurity. None of these are moral failures. They are structural leaks. The Trinity architecture operates on three layers: signal, structure, sovereignty. Signal is what you emit: your pace, vocal resonance, eye stability, pause distribution. Structure is how information is sequenced: when you enter, when you reframe, when you withhold. Sovereignty is your relationship to reaction, whether your emotional state is dictated by others. If signal is unstable, structure collapses. If structure is reactive, sovereignty evaporates. If sovereignty is absent, influence is impossible. This session is not about charisma. It is about engineering. You will learn why the person who speaks less can control more. Why silence is a positional asset. Why reframing is superior to arguing. Why emotional non-compliance generates hierarchy asymmetry. And why scarcity of reaction increases the weight of your words. Consider this formula: perceived stability times interpretive control. Perceived stability is how consistent you remain under pressure. Interpretive control is your ability to define what is happening rather than respond to someone else's definition. If either approaches zero, influence collapses. When someone labels a situation urgent, do you react emotionally? Or do you reclassify it as a sequencing issue? The label determines the emotional temperature. The person who names the phenomenon governs the room. Most of you are not ignored because your ideas are weak. You are ignored because your delivery is structurally eager. Eagerness lowers hierarchy. Urgency lowers hierarchy. Over-explanation lowers hierarchy. From this moment forward, your objective shifts. You will no longer attempt to be liked. You will install structural respect. Respect is not requested. It is inferred from stable. This is social strategy. Social strategy is not about dominating conversations. It is about controlling the architecture within which conversations occur. If you misunderstand this, you will attempt to speak more, argue harder, or display more intelligence. None of these produce durable influence. Influence is not created by intensity. It is created by structural calibration. The first governing principle is positional weight. Positional weight is the gravitational pull of your presence. It is determined before content is evaluated. Most people attempt to increase authority by increasing explanation. This is incorrect. Authority increases when delivery slows, sentences compress, and breath remains diaphragmatic. Rapid speech communicates internal urgency. Urgency communicates dependence. Dependence reduces weight. Observe your current pacing. When challenged, your speed increases. When interrupted, your tone rises. When uncertain, you overqualify. Each microadjustment reduces perceived stability. Stability is the foundation of hierarchy. The individual who appears least destabilized by external stimuli is unconsciously perceived as structurally superior. Positional weight is amplified by silence ownership. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is an unclaimed interval. Most individuals rush to fill it because silence feels like exposure. When you hold silence comfortably for 3 seconds, the room recalibrates around you. The pause forces attention to return. The pause communicates that your words are not chasing validation. They are arriving deliberately. The second governing principle is narrative control. Narrative control is the ability to define what is happening rather than reacting to how others define it. If someone says, "You're being difficult," the average response is defense. Defense accepts the premise. The Trinity response reframes. Clarifying expectations can feel difficult when timelines shift. The accusation dissolves because the frame has shifted from personality to process. Labels compress interpretation. When you accept someone else's label without audit, you accept their authority. Social strategy requires live auditing. Is this truly urgency, or is it poor planning? Is this criticism, or is it projection? Is this resistance, or is it incomplete context? The person who defines the label governs the emotional temperature of the room. The third governing principle is emotional noncompliance. Emotional noncompliance is the refusal to mirror volatility. When someone raises their voice, the instinct is to escalate or retreat. Both surrender sovereignty. Emotional noncompliance maintains tonal stability regardless of provocation. Stability creates asymmetry. Asymmetry creates hierarchy. The individual who does not fluctuate appears anchored. This does not mean suppression. It means control. You experience emotion internally. You choose whether to display it externally. Most people externalize instantly. This reveals reactivity. Reactivity signals negotiable status. The fourth governing principle is scarcity of reaction. Attention is a currency. If you respond to every stimulus, you devalue your response to significant stimuli. When you react selectively, your engagement acquires weight. Scarcity increases perceived value. This principle operates economically within social systems. Consider again the structural equation. Influence is equal to perceived stability times interpretive control. Perceived stability increases when positional weight and emotional noncompliance are installed. Interpretive control increases when narrative control and scarcity of reaction are practiced. Remove any variable and the product declines. Now examine common structural leaks. The first leak is preemptive apology. You apologize before accusation appears. "Sorry, this might be a bad idea." This sentence destroys positional weight before evaluation occurs. The second leak is surplus justification. You provide reasoning before resistance appears. "I think maybe this could work because..." Excess explanation signals anticipated rejection. The third leak is compression under pressure. When interrupted, you accelerate. Acceleration communicates urgency. Urgency communicates lower hierarchy. Social strategy requires you to reverse these patterns. Remove preemptive apology. Replace surplus justification with declarative clarity. Replace acceleration with pause insertion. When interrupted, do not raise your volume. Lower your pace. The room will resynchronize unconsciously. You must also understand sequencing. The first speaker often sets the frame. The last speaker often anchors memory. Entering mid-noise reduces salience. Entering after resolution increases salience. Strategic delay is not passivity. It is structural positioning. Most individuals attempt to increase visibility by speaking earlier and more often. Trinity positioning often requires speaking later and less frequently. Scarcity amplifies impact. When your voice is rare, it is evaluated more carefully. Finally, sovereignty. Sovereignty is your relationship to approval. If your emotional state rises and falls with social validation, you are externally governed. External governance prevents influence. The Trinity scholar's internal state remains independent of applause or silence. Influence becomes sustainable only when sovereignty is installed. You are not changing personality. You are recalibrating architecture. From this point forward, observe yourself in real time. When challenged, do you accelerate? When teased, do you laugh reflexively? When uncertain, do you over-explain? Awareness precedes correction. In the PDF, review the positional weight audit and identify your primary leak. Installation requires repetition. This is not conceptual. It is mechanical. Walk through one everyday scenario. Imagine a scenario. You are standing in a small group at a social gathering. The environment is relaxed but competitive. Stories are being exchanged rapidly. Laughter overlaps. Attention shifts quickly. You identify an opening to contribute. You begin speaking. Within seconds, another voice overlaps yours. The group's gaze drifts toward the louder speaker. You continue anyway, increasing speed to preserve relevance. Your sentence becomes compressed. You add clarification midstream. When you finish, the group has already transitioned. You remain physically present but socially unregistered. Non-Trinity scholars approach. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just saying that I had something similar happen, but it's probably not as interesting. Anyway, yeah, what were you saying? Trinity scholars approach. Continue. I'll add something after. Trinity analysis. The non-Trinity scholar immediately signals positional collapse through unnecessary apology. There was no interruption committed. The apology is preemptive submission. The phrase "it's probably not as interesting" reduces perceived value before evaluation. Compression under pressure increases vocal speed, which communicates urgency. Urgency communicates dependency. The room subconsciously downgrades hierarchy. The Trinity scholar restores structure without escalation. Continue. The tone remains even. The pause reclaims silence ownership. I'll add something after preserves intent while respecting sequence. No competition for volume. No compression. When the initial speaker concludes, the Trinity scholar enters at a measured pace. What you described about the traffic patterns was predictable. What stood out to me in a similar situation was how quickly the mood shifted once expectations were clarified. The contribution is delivered with full structure. The group recalibrates attention because the tempo contrasts with prior noise. Observe the architectural difference. The Trinity scholar does not attempt to win through intensity. The Trinity scholar wins through contrast and timing. Now imagine a second everyday scenario. Someone in the group makes a light joke at your expense. The tone appears humorous. Laughter follows. You feel a brief emotional spike. Non-Trinity scholars approach. Haha, yeah, I guess I do overthink things. That's just me. I can't help it. Trinity scholars approach. Interesting. What makes you say that? Trinity analysis. The non-Trinity scholar confirms the label. Agreement transforms a fleeting joke into a reinforced identity. Self-deprecation lowers hierarchy permanently because repetition frequency increases. The Trinity scholar refuses emotional mirroring. The pause creates interpretive tension. The word interesting signals evaluation without aggression. The follow-up question transfers cognitive burden to the initiator. Social pressure shifts direction. The room reconsiders the premise. Emotional non-compliance is demonstrated through tonal stability. Consider a third everyday dynamic. Someone says, "You're always so quiet." The comment is framed casually but carries positioning implications. Non-Trinity scholars approach. Yeah, I'm just more introverted. I don't always have much to say. Trinity Scholars Approach: I speak when it's necessary. Trinity Analysis: the non-Trinity scholar internalizes the label and justifies it. The justification reduces positional weight. The Trinity scholar reframes silence as selectivity. Selectivity implies control. The pause reinforces sufficiency. No further explanation is offered. Scarcity of reaction increases interpretive weight. Now examine an everyday correction scenario. The group begins discussing a topic inaccurately. You possess relevant knowledge. Non-Trinity Scholars Approach: actually, that's not really how it works. You're kind of missing a big part. Let me explain. Trinity Scholars Approach: there's another angle. The data suggests a different pattern. Trinity Analysis: direct invalidation triggers defensiveness. The Trinity scholar introduces alternative framing without accusation. The phrase "another angle" preserves dignity. The data suggests externalizes authority. Authority anchored in structure is less confrontational than authority anchored in ego. Narrative control replaces argument. In everyday environments, influence is rarely decided by content superiority. It is decided by composure superiority. The individual who maintains pacing under interruption acquires weight. The individual who tolerates teasing without self-minimization acquires hierarchy. The individual who reframes rather than reacts acquires interpretive control. Your operational objective in casual environments is not dominance. It is stability installation. Remove preemptive apologies. Eliminate surplus justification. Insert deliberate pauses. Maintain consistent vocal tempo. Allow others to escalate. You remain constant. For the next 3 casual interactions, perform a structural audit. When interrupted, do not accelerate. When teased, do not self-deprecate. When labeled inaccurately, reframe succinctly. Document outcomes in the PDF worksheet. You are not becoming aggressive. You are becoming architecturally stable. Walk through 2 professional scenario. Imagine a scenario. You are in a meeting with cross-functional stakeholders. The agenda is time-constrained. A senior colleague presents a proposal that contains structural weaknesses. You recognize them immediately. Before you speak, another participant says, "We don't have time to overcomplicate this. Let's just move forward." The room nods. The momentum shifts towards speed over precision. You feel pressure. If you speak, you risk appearing obstructive. If you remain silent, a flawed structure advances. Non-Trinity Scholars Approach: I'm sorry, I might be wrong, but I just think maybe we should reconsider a few details because there could be some issues later on. I don't want to slow things down, but I just feel like. Trinity Scholars Approach: speed is valuable. Stability is non-negotiable. If we move forward without addressing the sequencing risk, we amplify downstream cost. Trinity Analysis: the non-Trinity scholar begins with apology. Apology signals lower hierarchy. The phrase "I might be wrong" collapses positional weight before the idea is evaluated. The excessive qualifiers, "just," "maybe," "I just feel," weaken structural authority. The room categorizes the intervention as emotional rather than strategic. The Trinity scholar does not oppose speed directly. The first sentence acknowledges the value already asserted. Speed is valuable. This prevents defensive posture from the group. The second sentence introduces hierarchy. Stability is non-negotiable. The word non-negotiable signals structural boundary. The final sentence externalizes risk. Amplify downstream cost. The argument is not personal. It is systemic. Narrative control shifts the frame from overcomplication to risk amplification. The emotional temperature lowers. Interpretive control increases. Now consider a second professional scenario. During a review session, a senior manager states, "Your team missed the mark here." The statement is broad. It lacks precision. It carries implicit blame. Non-Trinity Scholars Approach: we tried our best. There were a lot of moving parts, and honestly we didn't have all the information at the time. We worked really hard on this. Trinity Scholars Approach. Define missed the mark. Are we discussing output variance or expectation misalignment? Trinity Analysis. The non-Trinity scholar defends effort. Effort is not structural currency. Effort does not recalibrate hierarchy. By focusing on labor, the response accepts fault implicitly. The Trinity scholar audits the label. Define missed the mark. This transfers cognitive burden. It forces specificity. The second sentence reframes into two structural possibilities: output variance or expectation misalignment. This shifts the discussion from blame to diagnosis. The Trinity scholar does not deny. The Trinity scholar classifies. Classification increases authority. Consider a third professional dynamic. A colleague interrupts you mid-presentation and says, "Can we just get to the point?" Non-Trinity scholars approach. "Yes, sorry, I'll try to be quicker." Basically what I'm saying is, Trinity scholars approach. The point is the risk. The detail prevents miscalculation. Trinity analysis. The non-Trinity scholar accelerates under pressure. Acceleration communicates instability. The apology compounds positional collapse. The Trinity scholar does not defend length. The Trinity scholar compresses deliberately. The point is the risk. The phrase is declarative. The follow-up sentence restores justification without emotional tone. Narrative control is maintained. The interruption does not destabilize pacing. Professional environments magnify structural leaks. Apologies are amplified. Over-explanations are recorded. Emotional reactions are catalogued subconsciously. Hierarchy solidifies based on stability gradients. Now examine a scenario of credit displacement. A project succeeds. A peer subtly positions themselves as central contributor. Non-Trinity scholars approach. "Yeah, we all worked really hard on it. It was a team effort." Trinity scholars approach. The initial framework required recalibration. That adjustment created the leverage. Trinity analysis. The non-Trinity scholar dissolves contribution into collective anonymity. While humility is admirable, repeated anonymity erodes positional weight. The Trinity scholar does not claim dominance. The Trinity scholar highlights structural contribution. Initial framework required recalibration. The phrase centers architecture rather than ego. Influence accrues because the room associates structural intervention with the speaker. Professional social strategy requires composure under evaluation. When tension rises, lower pace. When labels are vague, demand specificity. When momentum favors haste, introduce structural cost. When credit drifts, anchor contribution in architecture. Observe how positional weight, narrative control, emotional non-compliance, and scarcity of reaction integrate seamlessly here. You do not argue louder. You redefine context. You do not defend emotionally. You request classification. You do not react instantly. You insert pause. Your professional objective is not visibility through volume. It is influence through calibration. In your next meeting, perform one structural intervention. Audit a label. Insert a pause before responding to critique. Replace apology with declarative clarity. Record the outcome in the PDF. You are not resisting authority. You are installing structural credibility. Walk through 3 crisis scenario. Imagine a scenario. A high-stakes situation unfolds unexpectedly. A client escalates. A deadline is missed. An executive sends a sharply worded message questioning competence. The emotional temperature rises instantly. People begin speaking faster. Explanations overlap. Blame circulates. The room is no longer analytical. It is reactive. This is where hierarchy crystallizes. Non-Trinity scholars approach. This wasn't entirely our fault. There were dependencies we couldn't control, and honestly we weren't given enough time. We did everything we could under the circumstances. Trinity scholars approach. The failure point is identifiable. The correction path is defined. Here is the sequence. Trinity analysis. In crisis, The non-Trinity scholar defends immediately. Defense communicates vulnerability. The focus on fault and constraint positions the speaker inside the problem rather than above it. Emotional justification replaces structural clarity. The room senses instability. The Trinity scholar does not begin with blame or emotion. The Trinity scholar begins with classification. The failure point is identifiable. This signals control. The second sentence establishes forward motion. The correction path is defined. This reduces anxiety. The final sentence introduces structure. Here is the sequence. Crisis environments reward individuals who reduce ambiguity. Ambiguity fuels panic. Classification restores hierarchy. Now imagine a second crisis scenario. During a heated discussion, someone raises their voice and says, "This is unacceptable. How did this happen?" Non-Trinity scholars approach. We tried to flag the risk earlier, but maybe it wasn't clear enough. We didn't expect it to escalate like this. Trinity scholars approach. Expectation drift occurred. Ownership is clear. The resolution begins now. Trinity analysis. The non-Trinity scholar disperses accountability and references effort. This keeps the focus on past inadequacy. The Trinity scholar reframes the failure as expectation drift, a structural misalignment rather than personal incompetence. Ownership is clear, signals accountability without defensiveness. The resolution begins now redirects energy forward. Narrative control shifts from accusation to correction. In crisis, emotional noncompliance becomes decisive. When volume increases, you lower tone. When urgency accelerates speech, you slow cadence. This contrast creates stability asymmetry. Stability asymmetry produces hierarchy. Consider a third crisis scenario. A rumor spreads within the organization. Your name is mentioned. The narrative implies negligence. Non-Trinity scholars approach. That's not true. I would never do that. People are misunderstanding what happened. Trinity scholars approach. Clarification is necessary. The sequence of events is documented. Let's review it. Trinity analysis. Direct denial often amplifies suspicion because it centers emotion. The Trinity scholar removes emotion entirely. Documentation is introduced. Structure replaces narrative. The invitation to review evidence transfers attention from rumor to record. Interpretive control is restored. Crisis reveals who is governed by emotion and who governs emotion. Most individuals attempt to restore status through intensity. The Trinity scholar restores status through precision. Now understand a critical structural truth. In crisis, people do not follow the loudest voice. They follow the most stable voice. Stability reduces cognitive load. When cognitive load decreases, trust increases. When trust increases, hierarchy consolidates. Revisit the equation. Influence is equal to perceived stability times interpretive control. Crisis increases volatility. If you maintain perceived stability while others fluctuate, your multiplier expands relative to theirs. If you redefine the narrative from chaos to sequence, interpretive control increases. The product of influence grows precisely when pressure rises. Most of you lose influence during crisis because you attempt to protect identity. The Trinity scholar protects structure. Identity is secondary. Structure is primary. Your operational directive in crisis is simple. Classify, define, sequence. Do not justify. Do not escalate. Do not over-explain. Insert pauses. Lower tone. Anchor next steps. Key takeaways. You are not ignored because you lack intelligence. You are ignored because your delivery signals instability. This is not a character flaw. It is a structural misalignment. Social strategy is the correction of that misalignment. First principle. Positional weight determines whether your words are evaluated seriously before content is processed. If your pace accelerates under pressure, if your tone rises when interrupted, if your sentences expand with unnecessary qualifiers, you reduce positional weight. Authority is acoustic before it is intellectual. Lower pace. Eliminate surplus explanation. Insert silence deliberately. Second principle. Narrative control determines who defines the meaning of events. When you accept vague labels, difficult, urgent, unacceptable, without classification, you surrender interpretive control. Audit the label. Define the variable. Replace emotional framing with structural framing. The person who names the phenomenon governs the emotional temperature of the room. Third principle. Emotional noncompliance creates hierarchy asymmetry. When others escalate, you stabilize. When others joke at your expense, you refuse reflexive self-deprecation. When others accuse broadly, you request specificity. Stability is perceived as competence. Volatility is perceived as negotiable status. Fourth principle. Scarcity of reaction increases the value of your engagement. If you respond to every stimulus, your responses carry little weight. When you react selectively, attention consolidates. Silence becomes strategic. Pauses become anchoring mechanisms. Across everyday, professional, and crisis environments, the same equation governs influence. Influence is equal to perceived stability times interpretive control. In everyday contexts, stability is demonstrated through pacing and refusal to self-minimize. In professional contexts, interpretive control is demonstrated through reframing and classification. In crisis contexts, both variables are amplified through composure and sequencing. Remove preemptive apologies. Remove defensive justifications. Remove acceleration under interruption. Replace them with declarative clarity, structured reframing, and deliberate pause insertion. Remember this distinction: politeness reduces friction, structure creates authority. You can remain respectful while refusing to collapse your positional weight. Respect does not require self-diminishment. Another key distinction: explanation is not the same as influence. Many of you believe that if others understand your reasoning, they will grant you authority. Authority precedes understanding. Positional weight determines whether your reasoning is even considered. You are not attempting to dominate. You are installing stability. You are not attempting to silence others. You are controlling sequence. Social strategy is not manipulation. It is structural alignment between internal sovereignty and external signal. Finally, sovereignty is non-negotiable. If your emotional state is governed by approval, interruption, or criticism, your influence will fluctuate. Install internal independence. Speak from sufficiency, not urgency. You do not need to speak more. You need to speak with calibration. You do not need to react faster. You need to react less. You do not need to prove value. You need to signal stability. Why? You do not improve social strategy through insight alone. You improve it through controlled behavioral modification. The following assignments are not optional reflections. They are operational drills. Installation requires repetition. First drill: the apology elimination audit. For the next 48 hours, remove all preemptive apologies. If you say sorry without having committed an actual error, you document it. Most of your apologies are anticipatory. They protect you from imagined rejection. Remove them. Replace them with declarative statements. Instead of "sorry, this might not make sense," say, "Here is the structure." Instead of "sorry, I might be wrong," say, "There is another angle." The objective is to eliminate structural self-diminishment. Second drill: the 3-second pause installation. In your next 5 interactions, casual or professional, insert a deliberate 3-second pause before responding to a challenge, tease, interruption, or critique. Count internally. Do not rush. The pause will feel excessive. Externally, it will register as control. Document how the other party adjusts. Observe whether they fill the silence or recalibrate their tone. Third drill: the label audit protocol. When confronted with a broad label, difficult, urgent, unacceptable, overthinking, do not defend immediately. Ask for classification. Define urgent. What specifically is unacceptable? Which variable is misaligned? This transfers interpretive burden. The objective is not confrontation. It is precision. Fourth drill, compression under pressure test. When interrupted mid-sentence, do not accelerate. Lower pace instead. If necessary, say, "I'll complete the thought." Then continue at measured cadence. This is not aggression. It is sequence restoration. Record whether the room resynchronizes. Fifth drill, emotional non-compliance observation. In any interaction where emotional intensity increases, consciously reduce your vocal intensity by 10%. Lower tone. Slow cadence. Keep sentences shorter. Observe how quickly volatility diminishes. Stability diffuses escalation. Sixth drill, scarcity of reaction application. Identify one stimulus you would normally respond to, minor criticism, teasing, passive comment, and deliberately do not react. Maintain neutral expression. Allow the stimulus to expire without reinforcement. Scarcity of engagement reduces repetition frequency. All drills must be documented in today's PDF worksheet. Record the scenario, your previous default behavior, your installed response, and the observable outcome. Precision requires data. You will feel discomfort. Discomfort indicates pattern disruption. Do not retreat to familiarity. Familiarity created invisibility. Your objective is not to become louder. It is to become structurally heavier. Your objective is not to win arguments. It is to control interpretation. Your objective is not to eliminate emotion. It is to govern its display. Repeat this framework daily for 1 week. Influence will not appear suddenly. It will consolidate gradually as stability compounds. You are no longer practicing conversation. You are engineering perceptio. Install the architecture. Return after 48 hours. Report structural shifts.